Hey everyone, welcome to our Feature Friday webinar series. My name is Brennan. I'm one of the co-founders at Wholesale, and today we're going to be talking about something that we just released in Wholesale this week, actually, and it is a really monumental feature for folks doing high volume e-commerce multi-channel selling. So this is the ability to look at your logs of your e-commerce syncs for quantity. So when Wholesale connects to your e-commerce channels and tells them what the quantity is for each of your listing, and you'll be able to now look at those sync logs and see the quantities that kind of what serialized inventory and order items made up those quantities. So it's a really big announcement. We're very excited about what this means for sellers, and so I'm going to go through kind of a deep dive of that feature today. So that we'll jump right in. For anybody that's on the call today that is brand new to Wholesale and hasn't seen it before, I like to give a little description of what it is. And so Wholesale is basically an inventory management and multi-channel e-commerce selling tool, and it's built specifically. It's a serialized one, so it's built specifically for folks that are buying and selling used electronics, and kind of at our outset, specifically folks that are buying and selling used phones. My co-founder and I come from a long, over a decade history in the used phone industry, and we started building this software for ourselves initially, and then realized that it had a lot of opportunity with other folks that are buying and selling used devices out there. And the reason that Wholesale is kind of different from other inventory software that you could use, off-the-shelf inventory software, is that it allows you to much better track all the specific things that can go. It can be basically used cell phones can be in so many different condition states, and so they can be cosmetically graded, B grade, A grade, C grade, PGL, PUB. They can have specific functionalities that are or are not working, like cracked screen, bad digitizer, broken Wi-Fi, broken cellular connection. There are many of these. If you've been buying and selling used phones, you know this, you've experienced this before. And so because of that, you need an inventory system that kind of allows you to manage those specific details and tracks the unique history of a serialized item in your inventory. Many of our customers are repairing their inventory, so they receive it in one condition, they repair it, and that changes the condition. And what Wholesale helps you do, what it lets you do very well, is make huge bulk updates to hundreds or thousands of items in your inventory as you repair them or as you unlock them. And this is not so complicated as the SKU changes that you have to do in other inventory software. It's actually quite simple. You're able to just update that specific attribute of the item. So that's what Wholesale has made unique. And that updates the SKU automatically, which updates your e-commerce listings automatically. So Wholesale has all of these functionalities for managing serialized inventory, specifically for folks that are buying and selling used devices. And now, over time, we've built out more and more e-commerce features. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about, today. So let's jump right into it. So these e-commerce quantity sync logs, for folks that have been a Wholesale customer, that screenshot that I have there on the right is a familiar screenshot for you. You've seen how Wholesale's listings, how Wholesale handles e-commerce listings, and how it shows you what the current quantity of the products that you have connected to a listing are, and how the quantity sync is being calculated. So as I'm describing here, whenever you oversell on any of your channels, which tends to happen if you're multi-channel selling, and sometimes if your team added a device incorrectly to your inventory system, or you've got your settings across the various channels configured incorrectly, that can lead to overselling. And so when we see customers dealing with an overselling problem, they want to kind of identify and maybe kind of sleuth out the problem of why, the reason why they're overselling. They want to figure that out as quickly, urgently, and as fast, kind of quick and specific as possible. They want to figure out the why. Why are they overselling? And this can be actually pretty challenging to figure out. So in Wholesale, we provide a lot of tools that help you do this. So you can see this calculation on the right-hand side of our screen here. And this should give you a sense of what's happening in the moment. But a lot of times if you'll oversell, that happened in the past and you're coming to it after a long weekend, or maybe it happened yesterday. And so you're trying to dig through the history logs of what happened. And those history logs, they have this kind of similar information. They used to have just the stock level, But now in wholesale, what we've added, which no other inventory system can really have a sense of, is we've added the serialized inventory and the order items that are contributing towards each one of our e-commerce syncs. So these syncs are happening every 10 to 20 minutes, and we've now added a log that shows you can click on the quantity that was synced, and you can see what IMEIs were contributing to that quantity and what orders had items that were counting against that quantity and resulting in the quantity that we synced. And I use this example here because it's 8 minus 2 is 6. That's a very, very simple and straightforward example for you. So you can see, this is in this product, we've got 8 of these items in inventory minus 2 of them on outstanding orders. So we get to a quantity of 6. That's what got synced to the channel. But what I want to dive in and show you in our actual wholesale account, so I'm going to do a little demo here, is now you have the ability, which you did not have before, to click on these quantities and see the actual inventory items and actual order items that are representing these quantities here, which is just a massive capability now for sellers that are selling on e-commerce channels. That I'm not intimately familiar with other software out there, but I'm pretty sure that most other, even serialized inventory software, doesn't have the ability to tell you which quantities what IMEIs represented which quantities that got synced with the channel. Even the best sync history logs that we've seen from other multi-channel sync apps, they do a very good job of showing you what quantity got synced when, but they don't really show you why. They don't show you what items in your inventory kind of made up that quantity and what orders from which marketplaces counted against that quantity. So anyways, enough kind of chat about this. Overall, we're going to dive in and take a look at our wholesale account. I'm going to pull that up for you. Hopefully you can see it with me here. I'll make my screen a little bigger. So this is our wholesale demo account. So we've got a bunch of things in here that might look a little bit strange since it's demo data, but this is my back market integration settings page, and I've clicked on the listings tab here, so you can see. Hopefully everyone on the call can see. I'm looking at my back market listings, and I've got a listing here that is currently connected. It's BM Test SKU 3, and so we're going to hop into that listing, and here is the screenshot that I had in my webinar slides. So we can see now we've got 8 in inventory minus 2 outstanding on orders, and that's a stock level of 6. So we've got this right here in front of us, and like I was saying, what's so unique is now these quantities are clickable. So we can click on the inventory count and we get a pop-up that's showing us all the inventory items. These are individual inventory items. If we want to click on, they don't have ESNs in the software right now, but they have an ID and an ESN of NA. If we click on one, we open it, this is the specific page from this inventory item. We can see what supplier we bought it from. We can see the history log of the inventory. We can see the process batches it's been on, the financial history. So every one of these is a specific inventory item in our inventory that's showing up here. So we can see that, and we can see the same thing for the orders. So we can see that there are 2 order items of this product that are outstanding, and we actually pop this open and we can see that it's on one order. So this order 6737 has 2 of these items on it, and they probably haven't been fulfilled yet. That's why they're counting against this quantity. And so we've got an open order for these for 2 of these items, and that's counting against our current inventory count. So that's where these items are coming from. But this only shows us the picture of right now, right this instance. This is hopefully what has been synced to back market, a stock level of 6. But say, we had an oversell problem a couple days ago. We want to go in and look at the history. So let's pop in and see this history here. Now we can see. So one of the things that you'll notice if you're a current seller on wholesale is this is this kind of insight into which items made up, whatever sync quantities. As we can see here, it's just been happening on these recent syncs that have happened after we launched this update in wholesale. So after October 20th, basically, or October 19th, you're going to start seeing the ability to click on these quantities, whereas you don't have it on previous ones. But anyone joining wholesale today will have that moving forward, and any current customer has that on all of their syncs in their history moving forward. So that's really significant. And like I mentioned, this is not just a tool just for seeing what is comprising of these quantities. Now, you can now go back, and every sync that you have in your history is going to allow you to see what quantities and orders made up a previous sync. So this was on the 19th. This was just a couple days ago, and Wholesale synced a quantity of 8 of this item up to back market. Let's open that up and see what that means. So I mean, here it is. Here's our pop-up. We have inventory items in this panel on top, and then we have order items in this panel on the bottom. So what we can see is if we count these up, we basically have 6 of these quantities right here, and probably two others, and that made up our quantity sync of 8. And then let's see, right now, if we click on our sync of 6, then here we can see, okay, we have our total of 8 and then minus 2. So we have this ability now to see right from the clarity of this dashboard how many products we had in inventory, what the specific products were, and the order items with the quantities that counted against them. So you really have this incredible ability now to see which items made up a previous sync and what order items counted against those inventory items. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the beginning of the call. If you've got any questions, I'm monitoring the chat, so please toss those any questions that you have in the chat, and I'm happy to get back to them. But anyways, kind of getting back to this, the capability here is pretty extraordinary in that we know when our customers have any kind of overselling event, they're immediately coming to this sync history log, and they're looking at the quantity that was synced at what date, at what time, and they're trying to kind of figure out, they're going back into their inventory, looking at the SKUs, what SKUs do I have connected to my listing, why did a certain quantity sync happen, what inventory could it have been, what orders could have been counting against the inventory. Now you have the direct ability to see right from these right from this page, you can see, okay, so these 8 inventory items were synced on the 19th. Then on the 21st, these 8 inventory items were synced, but now there was an order for 2 of them, and that was counting against the 8 inventory items. So you just have this visibility that no one ever really has had in the past to see, why is this happening? Now from here you can maybe see, okay, maybe it wasn't syncing the correct, maybe I had the SKUs mapped incorrectly, or maybe an order came from a place, maybe this order came from a channel. I can go in and investigate this order, can open it up in a new tab and see, maybe this order came from some channel that I wasn't anticipating or didn't want to have connected. And so that messed up my sync. Maybe you're not even diagnosing an overselling issue. You're just diagnosing the fact that your inventory quantity is not as high as it should be. You should be seeing higher inventory quantities, and that could be because you've got orders counting against it. So whatever the issue, now your ability to go in and kind of sleuth out and diagnose why is your e-commerce sync not happening the way that you want it to is certainly significantly heightened. You now have the ability to see which IMEIs are going into which syncs and what order items are counting against them. So this is a new feature that affects our integrations with currently eBay, Swappa, and Backmarket. And so all 3 of those integrations, the Swappa one is just for Swappa enterprise customers, but the 3 of those integrations are live now. So your syncs, as long as you have synchronizations happening after basically yesterday or the day before, October 19th, you're going to be seeing those clickable quantities in your sync histories. Give it a shot, try it out, and let us know. Let us know if it helps you as much as we are certainly hoping that it will. And I'll be getting to this more kind of further into the webinar, but we've got integrations coming out with more and more channels, and this is now, we keep making these integrations better. This is now a standard of integrations that you'll see with our integrations with other channels as we release them. So we're really thrilled about it. We're excited about the potential that this brings for serialized e-commerce sellers to have an incredibly specific view. That's the whole reason we are excited about serialized inventory at Wholesale. My co-founder Harry and I get really thrilled about these different kind of analytics that we can show our customers that other inventory systems can't, because they're not doing things in a truly serialized way. But thankfully in Wholesale we are, and so we can give you this incredible detail that you just don't get anywhere else. So that's our latest feature. We hope you love it. And if you're still on the webinar with me, I'm going to go through the rest of our kind of details about wholesale. If you've got any questions, hit me with them if you don't mind. Our e-commerce integrations, that's specifically what I'm talking about today, an improvement to our e-commerce integrations, but just the current picture of e-commerce with wholesale. We currently have integrations with Swappa, eBay, Backmarket, and WooCommerce. I actually didn't even mention WooCommerce. That sync history will be in WooCommerce as well. So you'll be able to see the sync history, that any syncs that have changed with your WooCommerce integration to your WooCommerce store. So we've got those direct integrations with those 4 channels. And then we also have an integration with Sellbrite that allows you to connect to Sellbrite, which is a multi-channel connector, and can connect to more channels. Lastly, we have a ShipStation order import integration that can bring in orders from any channel that you can sync with ShipStation. So you can bring any of those orders into wholesale, and then you can use our stock levels API. We've got a CSV generator in the API, and we have just a standard REST API for your SKU and stock levels, and that can allow you to connect wholesale to any channel that you want to connect to. It may take a little bit of development work, but you can really do it. And so we see customers using this API and our ShipStation integration to connect to all kinds of channels every day. So those are our current solutions that exist in wholesale today. We are actively and feverishly working on integrations with Amazon, Walmart, and Shopify to get those channels out. We know that a lot of people selling used phones, these are the channels that they sell on, is the ones that we have, plus Amazon, Walmart, and Shopify. So those are the next 3 that are coming from us, wholesale integrations built by our team. So that's our current picture, the current state of e-commerce. We also have a handful of business integrations that connect to other software that we know our customers are using to run their businesses. So one of those is PhoneCheck. PhoneCheck is a diagnostic utility that allows you to standardize your testing procedures for testing the devices in your inventory. And they've got a great product that allows you, gives you kind of software to run to make sure that every time a phone is tested in your business, or any device, I believe they do, phones, watches, tablets. So each of those devices gets tested in the same standardized manner. And all of those test results get uploaded. So it's not a manual entry. It's cutting down on all of these kind of manual problems that can happen. And so PhoneCheck's got a great platform. You can use our integration to bring over your data about inventory from PhoneCheck into wholesale. So that's a really popular integration, one we're really happy about. We also have a QuickBooks integration for syncing your invoices and your purchase orders with wholesale. And then we also have a ShipStation integration that can connect to wholesale, and it can ship all of your orders. So it can ship your e-commerce orders, your wholesale orders, the B2B orders, anything that's coming through wholesale, whether it got created in wholesale or is coming from one of the channels we connect with that brings an order into wholesale, that can be exported to ShipStation. You can create a shipping label in ShipStation, and that shipping tracking number will come back to wholesale, and then wholesale can even tell the channel that the order came from about the tracking number. So fully featured e-commerce integrations that allow you to really use wholesale as the center point for all the serialized information of your business. If you're trying to get organized and stay on top of all your serialized inventory, we certainly don't know of any other better solution than wholesale for that. So those are our business integrations. I kind of mentioned our API in terms of connecting to e-commerce channels, but customers can use wholesale's open API for a myriad of different use cases. So if you're doing kind of buyback or trade-in software, if you have a custom app for processing those with your vendors that are selling their enterprise trade-ins or ITAD, what have you, you can connect wholesale to that buyback software to bring in purchase orders and inventory. If you've got custom warehouse sorting tools or processing tools or reporting tools, you can connect those to wholesale to extract data about your inventory. And like I mentioned, for e-commerce, if you've got a special channel that you're selling on that we do not connect to, you have ways and options for connecting wholesale to those channels. It might take a little bit of work on your team's behalf, but it can certainly be done. And we get really excited as well, I should mention. Our account manager, Mike, and I, and even our engineering team get excited about helping customers, solve these problems. We are happy to consult and give you the information that you need from us to build these solutions, because what we see is a lot of customers coming from a background of maybe they tried to build a full inventory system themselves, and it's a lot of work. At some point you have to decide whether or not you're building an inventory system or you're building your business, because those things can sometimes be diametrically opposed. They can really cut into each other. So we see a lot of folks who tried to do that, and it just ended up being too large of a commitment to try and build a whole inventory system out. So what they decide to do is they build on top of Wholesale. They use Wholesale's primary kind of organization and structure as a way to store the information about their inventory. And then whatever custom tools they need, they build on top of our API. So that's a very popular option these days. And we again, love helping customers work through that. So that's one of the options. Serialized order fulfillment is just one of these very, very significant features for our customers on Wholesale that we think is better than most of the other options out there. So this ability to scan an order and then scan the IMEIs that are supposed to go on that order, and to see a validation message of whether or not those IMEIs are the correct product that belong on the order. We have this bulk commit page or bulk fulfillment page that allows you to do that, and it can save so much time for a picking team or an operations team in a warehouse that is trying to, they're on a busy Monday with thousands of orders or hundreds of orders. This can take hours and hours. And so we've got this tool that you just bring up in your browser, you scan the orders, you scan the IMEIs, and it makes life a lot easier for a picking team that's working for a business that wants to stay organized, right? The core here is you certainly could just not track your serial numbers and have your picking team just grab items, ship them out. But we've seen the long-term impacts of that kind of operation. And what it means is you end up kind of disorganized. You end up with customers sending back IMEIs that they did not actually buy from you, but you have no idea because you're not tracking those details. And so as time goes on and you scale your business, you want to get more organized. And operating an organized business is kind of the clean and efficient way and best practice for running. I mean, you got the serial numbers, you might as well make use of them. And so we've built all these tools in Wholesale, like serialized order fulfillment in bulk, to help you maintain an organized business at the fastest pace possible with as little friction as possible. So that's another feature. Repair cost tracking is a really fun one because so many of our customers, again, are doing some kind of repair. They're using parts, they're using labor going into each item in their inventory. So it's not just buying a bunch of t-shirts and then reselling them. It's buying used devices in a variety of conditions, sometimes using software to unlock the devices, paying for a service to do that, or repairing a device, physically repairing a device that's changing its SKU, changing its condition, making it more valuable. But you also want to track and aggregate those costs on all of your inventory. So if you fix a screen, you want to track the fact that costs $50. Maybe you bought the phone for $100, you fixed the screen for $50, and we see a lot of customers with systems that are not tracking this. And so they end up sometimes showing that they paid $100 for the phone. Somehow the repair cost gets lost, and then they sold the phone for $200. It's really dangerous thinking to have a system that makes you think that you made $100 on that phone when you really only made $50. So that's why you can track these repair costs in Wholesale under financial line items on specific inventory, and that's a huge capability for folks trying to do this at scale. So repair cost tracking. And then the B2B customer portal. So, this is not, we built a customer portal specifically for B2B sellers, and it's really popular for folks that are selling, if they do a lot of predominantly e-commerce sales, but they want to just dip their toes into selling B2B. B2B can be a great option because it's a way to get rid of inventory faster. So if you're sitting on inventory, or you want to you want to have a policy of getting rid of aging inventory, or you just want to start building your B2B connections, this B2B portal that we have is a great option. It allows you to give your customers a login so they can log in. You can upload your logo, have a branded page that looks like your business, and it lists out all the inventory that you have for sale with the same kinds of settings as our e-commerce integrations. It lists out the orders, the previous sales orders, and the previous RMAs and IMEIs even that a customer has bought from you. So they have their own portal and place to log in and see their entire history doing business with you. So you don't have to keep sending them invoices and PDFs and stuff like that. They have a place where they can download that and find it themselves, which This is one thing I like to say about the customer portal is it's certainly not as fully featured as a Shopify website or a WooCommerce website. So that's why we connect to those channels if you want to have your own website like that. But it's a very fast way to spin up a portal that you can then just hand over to your customers. And so it's very simple, but very fast and efficient. And it's directly connected to your inventory. So you always know that the inventory that's listed there is going to be live, which can be a huge advantage. So that's our B2B customer portal. It's a free feature that comes with any wholesale account. So, if you're on wholesale, we'd encourage you to try it out and see if you can use it. So I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about pricing here. So on wholesale, we have pricing going from $49 a month to $499 a month. And what we see more and more is that for any e-commerce seller that is using the multiple e-commerce integrations we have, that $499 unlimited plan on a monthly basis is an incredibly competitive price. And at wholesale, our onboarding, we help customers with onboarding very intimately. Mike and I will schedule calls with you, teach you and your team how to use wholesale, talk to you about how to move your workflows over from whatever you've been using to wholesale. If you're using Google Sheets, we really have helped a lot of customers do that. If you're using some other software like NetSuite or using a multi-channel sync system like Seller Cloud or Sellbrite, we can help you move those workflows over to wholesale. At least, even if you just want to do the serialized tracking with wholesale and you want to do your e-commerce sync with someone else, that's fine too. We can help you with that. But what we find is $499 a month is actually an incredibly competitive rate compared to, and we encourage our customers to go look out into the marketplace and see there are many other providers charging upwards of $1,000 a month for these kinds of integrations and this level of tracking. And what's special about it is this level of tracking is actually quite unique. There aren't very many other providers that are offering serialized tracking in the same way that wholesale does, allowing you to track the history of every single item in your business. So, we're excited about this pricing. We think our lower three tiers, 49, 129, and 249, are good options for folks that are just starting to scale their business. They're maybe flipping phones on the side and then getting into it a little bit more seriously. What wholesale does for these kinds of businesses, as you add employees, you need a standard system, for how you're tracking things, for how you're managing your inventory, and how you're sharing your inventory with customers, how you're tracking it internally. That becomes more and more critical the more people that you add to the business. So we see these as a really, really helpful option that hopefully the value of wholesale far outweighs the cost that you're paying on a monthly basis, because otherwise it wouldn't be worth it. But we're proud of this pricing and excited to see customers using the tools that we've built and getting a lot of value out of them. So if you've got any questions about pricing, Mike and I are always here. We're pretty casual with trial times. So if you're trying wholesale out and 15 days doesn't end up being enough, we're usually quite liberal about extending trials, giving you the time that you need to make sure that it is the right system for you. And if it's not, no hard feelings. We're not trying to lock anyone in. All of these plans are monthly plans that you can cancel at any time. And so, yeah, that's our sitting in the market, trying to build a valuable tool that doesn't chain anyone to the tool or the pricing or a contract. And our goal is to provide as much value as humanly possible with this software. So that's it. If anybody's got any questions, please, thanks for sticking around with me for 30 minutes here. I'll keep monitoring the chat. And if I get any questions, great. If not, I'll let everyone get off to their weekends. All right. Nothing yet. Well, thank you everyone for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for chatting with me about our latest features and wholesale at large. And have a good weekend. I'll see you in the next one of these. Take care.